What's going on, guys? Chuck back with another awesome Blu-ray purchase, and today we're going to take a look at a new release from Kino Lorber, and that being from 1977, Ants, aka It Happened at Lakewood Manor. Now, this is strictly a TV movie. I believe it was released in theaters overseas, but as far as in the United States, it was strictly made for TV. I'm not sure what network aired it. Judging I had Suzanne Summers, because possible it was ABC, since she was doing Three's Company at the time. But as the title implies, this is basically a bug movie, kind of a disaster. It feels a lot like a disaster film, not on the high end of an earthquake or a towering inferno, but a nice low budget television disaster film with a pretty noteworthy cast. Specifically, you've got Robert Foxworth in here, and let me do some double checking here. My notes, sorry. He's like pretty much the main male lead of this. Who else we have in here? Linda Day George. She is the co-lead, and they were billed as leads of this film. However, Suzanne Summers is in this film, and she was basically a bit part. Almost like she was listed as a cameo or guest star, guest appearance by Suzanne Summers. However, by the time this film was released, she had just become huge from doing Three's Company, so they really marketed around Suzanne Summers, even though she really has a very bit part. I guess notable that she is killed by ants. Spoiler alert, sorry. Half naked, or at least her body double is. And again, it's television, so you're not going to get too much. But that's, really what they're capitalizing on. But you've also got Gerald Gordon in this film as, Suzanne Summers' love interest in this film. And he's a total jerk, for lack of a better term. And I've seen Gerald Gordon in a lot of stuff around the 70s and 80s, TV movies, whatever the case may be. And this is the typical character he plays. You look at him, he's slimy, and he really comes across it really well as just sniveling. He's almost mustache twirling at some points, but he's also cowardly and he's chauvinistic, just full of himself. But he comes across. To me, that's what Gerald Gordon just. I'm sure he was probably a nice guy if he's still alive. I'm not sure. But most of the time I've seen him in roles, this is the kind of character he played, and he was good at it. What can you say? Bernie Casey is in here as the foreman of the construction site, working under Robert Foxworth. You got Barry Van Dyke as, I guess, a hotel employee. And I know he's done some stuff, but the one thing that I recall Barry Van Dyke from is Galactica 1980. He probably doesn't remember that. But needless to say, he was in Galactica 1980. And I can't remember which one he played. I think it was Troy. I'm not sure. But that's the one thing I remember him from. Also in here you've got, towards the last half of him, you got Brian Dennehy as the fire chief. And, doing what Dennehy does, being excellent. And when I think I read some of the trivia on this, this is one of Brian Dennehy's 12 movie and TV appearances in 1977. So he was like working nonstop. He was just filming away, and Brian Dennehy was a busy man. Excuse me. The other notable major star, well, I don't say major star, at least not in the 1970s, but she was probably. For these kind of films in this time, because in like late 1970s, disaster films were huge. You had, like I said, especially in theaters with Towering Inferno, Earthquake, Airport 77. But they were known for having big golden age stars in some capacity. That kind of became the trope of the genre. And this is no exception, as you've got the wonderful Myrna Loy in this role. I'm not sure, how much, where she was in as far as this role. This is like one of her last roles, or how much longer she lived. I haven't done that much research. Sorry, but she's in basically the owner of this hotel, and the mother. Okay, notes. I'm just looking at my screen here. Sorry, mother of the Linda Day George character, who is questioning if she wants to sell this hotel to Gerald Gordon's character, the slimy Gerald Gordon's character. But it was wonderful to see Myrna Loy. I adore Myrna Loy from her films, in the 1930s, especially her when she teamed up with William Powell. Those two had such wonderful chemistry, and especially during the Thin Man series of films, which are fantastic. Admittedly, I've only seen the first two, but that's all I need to know. That the rest of them are, their chemistry. They were also in a great Ziegfeld together, and they probably did a few other films, but their chemistry is unmatched. I think even to this day, they had such wonderful chemistry together. But Myrna Loy is a favorite of mine. Around that time, her and Claudette Colbert, absolutely beautiful women. And I just adored. Every time I could find a film, with them in, I'm going to check it out, because I absolutely love Claudette Colbert and Myrna Loy. And again, it gets to see Myrna Loy in the 70s as an old woman, and still very attractive for old woman. Again, she's in a wheelchair. Again, if that was part of the story, or if it was really what she needed. I'm thinking it's part of the story. Again, I don't know what Myrna Loy's condition was around 1977, but it was wonderful to see her and just bringing that charm that she always had in the film. As for the film, it's basically your 1970s TV movie, what you expect. Something that's not done anymore. Really, they don't do TV movies anymore. It's a rarity if they do, and understandably, it's kind of hard to grab that kind of attention that you would in the 70s and 80s when these kind of things were huge events for television, whether it be a TV movie or a miniseries. Those kind of things just don't really fly too well on broadcast television in this day and age. But this is one of those things, and I don't really know how well received it is. Honestly, my history of this goes back to, this is the first time I saw it. It was just after I got this disc. But I always have a memory of it from years ago, going to the video store and walking by and seeing the VHS box cover, which always caught my attention. And if you don't know what it is, I'll explain it to you and show it to you here in just a minute, as it is the reverse artwork for this disc. But it always caught my attention. And I always thought, I should probably check that out. I never did. Which is a lot of cases with a lot of VHS films around the time I had those box covers. And I should check that out. Oh, I'm going to get this one over here instead, though. I don't know why. But so when I saw that Kino Lorber was releasing this, I was like, this is my chance to pick this up. And I'm glad I did. It's a lot of fun. And there's some good extras on here. We got an audio commentary by author and film historian Lee Gambin. An audio interview with actors Barbara Brownell, Barry Van Dyke, Anita Gillette, and Moosey Dreyer. Another audio interview with production assistant and daughter of producer Alan Landsberg, Valerie Landsberg, and of course the newly commissioned art. Now, I haven't heard the audio commentary or the audio interviews. Just watched the movie, and it looked really good for being 1970s television film. And what's interesting on this is that they actually gave you two options to watch this film. You can watch it in the regular television, 4x3, black bars on the side, square presentation, or they actually have a 16:9 widescreen presentation of the film. Again, this was shown theatrically overseas, so there is, that widescreen aspect, which is kind of cool. They gave you the option to see both. I did watch the widescreen version, and it looked really good. I was impressed actually how well it did look. Again, being for 1970s film, you expect kind of, grainy, gritty, especially made for television, but it's really good. Visual effects wise, I'd say there's some pretty good stuff in here for the time. What's amazing, these ants are creepy. They use real ants. These scenes where these actors have ants on them, And in some of these scenes, these are real ants crawling all over them, and kudos to them, because it's just, ugh. And my wife and I are watching this and just get, I can't, But I'm also watching this, and there's certain aspects I'm like, that is a total health code violation when you see certain scenes. It's like, people in this hotel kitchen, they have a cook walk around in sandals, in the kitchen. It doesn't seem like it's, very, health code friendly. And not even noticing he's got ants crawling all over his feet and a big pile of ants on the floor. This is the hotel I don't want to be at. But the ants scenes, ants, we have a history in this area. Sometimes in the summer we'll get little ant infestations. It's one of those things you can't help it. But when they creep up and they just show up in there and pop there everywhere, it's really creepy. You hate when they just. But in this movie, there are like so many where they're just piling on, and the premise of this basically these ants have over years of being struck with insecticides and other kind of toxins and poisons, they've learned to use it against as a defense mechanism, and they start attacking people or anything they feel is a threat, and using that toxin and poison to kill their prey, if you will. Your typical mutated environmentalist, monster movie cliched plot. But overall it's fun. I mean, there's a lot of 70s, disaster cliches. Not as many as you probably in some of bigger films, but a lot of there. You got the strong hero. His love interest is basically spends a lot of the movie just crying. Unfortunately, not a very strong character. But you got the lead hero's good buddy, the strong foreman, Bernie Casey in this case. You got the evil villain. You've got the kindly older woman, of course, usually played by Golden Age star. I mean, and all these character cliches are there. You've got the two teen love interests, or I guess not teen, but 20-something love interests. So there's that. But it was fun, and it's only like 90 minutes. Not a hard watch. It goes pretty quick. I'd recommend checking it out. Again, your mileage may vary all depending on how well you like bugs or the disaster genre, again, which was a really big thing in the 1970s. A lot of them are good, and there's some that are just like but if you're really for a really big genre, disaster genre, in the bugs, look for Swarm, which I just recently purchased. That's, again, a huge disaster, a lot of big stars, and just I don't know if that, I can't remember if it was about the killer bees in that one, or if it was something kind of, I think it was bees in that one. I saw it a couple years ago at the drive-in, and I'm like, this is just crazy. So I'm gonna check that out again when I get it, and it'll be interesting to compare that to the film that I just watched that I got from Vinegar Syndrome with John Saxon, The Bees, and that was an interesting film. But I digress. So, ants. So here's the, again, I dropped it. The newly commissioned slipcover artwork, which is really nice. You got Robert Foxworth and all the other characters. There's Suzanne Summers over here. Here's your back. And now here is the image I saw in the video store. This is Suzanne Summers. At least I'm assuming it's supposed to be Suzanne Summers. Whether it's actually Suzanne Summers, you can't really. It's hard to tell. I know in some of her scenes she did have to have the ants all over. Nothing like this happens though. So, but this was the box cover of the VHS that I always saw. This is what gets your attention, and rightfully so. I mean, how does that not get your attention? So, that's that. And of course, Kino Lorber. That's again my one complaint, which all the good stuff that Kino Lorber puts out is I really wish they had more, and they've done it on some discs. There's a few discs of this, but most of them are just this plain Kino Lorber gray and black disc label. I really wish they would put like some kind of artwork on those, but whatever. So that is Ants 1977. Again, it's a fun watch. It's quick. It goes by. It's not a hard watch at all. If you're into disaster genres, if you're into killer bugs, Suzanne Summers, I recommend you check it out and give it a watch. And it was relatively cheap off Amazon. Where I got this was only like about $13, I think. Not too bad. So that is it for now. As always, if you like this, click the thumbs up, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on disaster films of the 1970s. Did you see Ants? Did you get this Blu-ray? What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on Suzanne Summers or Myrna Loy? Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.